Hi guys, and welcome back to another fly in the Orkney series. So today I'm going to butcher Hutch's Pennell. I'm not really going to butcher it, but I have made certain changes to the fly simply because I don't have the materials to tie the original pattern, but I'll keep you right as I go along. And without further ado, let's get into it. The hook and the vise is a Hackle H200 barbless hook. This one's at size 12, it's on a heavy wire and it's finished in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using is from Troutline. It's the Sumo thread at 50 denier. It's a GSP thread in black. Now, as always, with the GSP thread, I'm going to get a tiny touch of varnish onto the shank just to help bed the GSP onto the shiny black nickel. I'll then just use my thread to move that little bit of varnish up and down the shank, and then I can get a bed of thread down. Now, as I get up towards the end of the shank, I'm going to just take away my rat's tail. Now, as I said, I've not got all the materials to tie the original Hutch's Pennell, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise as I go along. Now, the first thing I'm going to use is some mirror tinsel. I've only got this thick stuff, but I'm going to make do with it. I've already taken a little bit off the spool, just trying to find the end. Now it's quite thin, this silver, so I'm going to just catch it in on the shank, and then what I want to do is I want to take it round the bend of the hook. So I'll just use my thread to just bring that round the bend of the hook. Now, the original pattern did have a silver tag like this, but I'm not quite sure what materials were used. So I'll bring that back up. Then what I'm going to do, and this is a good little tip actually, when you're bringing materials around back up the bend, you want to avoid the point. If you just tilt your vise slightly to the side, you can see exactly where the hook point is, and it just makes the whole thing a little easier. Now I'm just going to get overlapping turns. As I said, it's quite a sheer material this. If I catch the hook point, you'll be seeing me go back and starting again. So I just want to get that in place. And because it's so wide, it makes it even more difficult just to bring it up. But we're getting there, we're getting there. I'm just taking my time. And I did hear a click there, which worries me. It means I've caught the hook point. When you hear that little click, I don't know if the audio picked that up, but I definitely did. So I'll bring my thread back. I'll just get a couple of turns in to keep it into place. And then I'm pretty confident that's going to hold. I can get a couple of turns in front of the material. I'll come back and take away my excess. Now, the little silver tag there, I dare say if I was fiddling further with the pattern, you could use pearl tinsel or gold even, I think would probably work quite well. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is, it should be golden pheasant in the tail, but I haven't got any of that, or I have got it, but it's very dull and I don't like the look of it. So what I've decided to do is use some of Troutline's, it's premium barred mallard feathers, and they've been dyed orange. So I always keep all my sort of bits and bobs, especially these exotic feathers, if you like exotic. A duck's not exotic, is it? But you know what I mean. These sort of offcuts that I've used for other things, they're just handy for things like tailing and stuff. So I'm going to use this nice barred orange duck feather, and this has kind of lent itself to what I need. I'll just take that away. Yeah, oh, here's a bit of the... So I was going to use the original, but I can show you here on the camera, it's not really popping that for me. It's quite a dull orange, I'm not keen. So that's why, hence I've gone for the mallard feather. So I want to have a tail protruding about a centimetre past the bend of the hook here. So I'll just catch that in. Now once I've got that in place, I can come on with my scissors and just cut that tailing away. And I can come over, and I want to come back to probably just past the hook point there. And then I can just bring that all the way up to the thorax area. Next I'm going to tie in my wire rib, and what I'm using is some Uni French wire, medium silver. It's a nice thick wire. I want the rib to be seen. A lot of the time I'm using ribbon really to just protect materials, but I want this rib to be seen, hence I've chosen to make it quite thick. So I'll bring my thread around. Now I think this is probably a great fly for the top dropper, or fished in the middle of a team of wets. I'm just coming a couple of turns back towards the front of the fly there, and the reason for that is I'm going to tie in some peacock herring. I've got some peacock herring here from Troutline. I'm looking for a nice thick bushy fibre here. Sorry, bear with me, I should have got this out of the packet really. There we go, that's not too bad. So I picked out a sword. What I'm going to do now, with this material it tends to get weak at the tip. So what I do is just put some pressure on it and take away the weakest part. Just might prevent you crying into your giant pillow when it snaps off when you're winding it up. So again, I'm going to come in, tie it in on my side, come all the way up to the point of the fly, then I can come round. Now at this point I'm going to get several extra turns onto the shank so that I can use the rotary function on the vise. Now again, if you do this you can easily avoid the hook point, and as the fly tiers amongst you will know, peacock herring will not tolerate being dragged over the point of a hook. It will just snap on you. So always good to avoid that. Once you get past that, it's just easy work then. All the way up, I'm going to leave plenty of room at the front for my hackling, and I can come in, I'm going to catch that, a couple of turns in front, and then I can come in with my blade and just take away the excess peacock herring. Now you can tie these in size 10 down to 14, I believe. They're quite effective, but it's a nice wee pattern, and hopefully it will do me a job when I go up the road. The last turn the wire is going to come down towards the front. Again, I'll get a couple of turns just to secure that into place, and then because I've finished it this side, I'm just going to hold tension on my thread and helicopter that wire away, and that's going not too bad. You can see because I've used that heavier gauge wire, it is coming through the peacock herring, and if you imagine when it's wet, it will flash and you'll get that flash of silver there. So next then we're going to tie in our first hackle. What I'm using here is just a cheap Indian cock cape, and I'm going to find a small hackle from the front here, just taking that off. And what this is here to do really is going to support the second hackle that I'm going to tie in. Now before I tie that in, get some wax onto my thread, and this is just to grip the stalk. And then I can grab my hackle pliers. Now it's not I'm a big fan of big long hackles that will cause that teardrop effect, but this pattern, it tends to, the hackle shouldn't really protrude past the bottom of the fly. So a little departure of the way I like to tie, but still it's worth a go, I think. I'm just going to encourage them hackle fibres to go back around, and then I can grab that, get a couple of turns just to hold it into place, and the tips snapped away, which I'm pleased it snapped away once I trapped it. Now there's some fibres protruding forward here. Just going to grab all them and tidy up that front area. A little bit more wax. Now what I'm going to change again, a little change here, all I've got really is this grizzle cape, which is kind of white. It should be a white hackle at the front of Hutch's Pennell, but I simply just don't have the feathers. So what I'm using is the grizzle cape, and this is a feather I've used to tie 2 or 3 of these flies for the box. So I'm going to just strip off a little bit of a handle to tie in, and then I can lay that up like so. Missed it that time. Once I've got it in place, I can secure it in, and then it's just simply a case of finding how the hackle wants to sit. And I like to get 3 turns of hackle, 3 turns of this grizzle. So there's the first one. Second one. And on the third turn it should bring it, near as damn it, up to the eye. So once I've got that in place, I can work my thread through the fibres. I've caught a few fibres in there, but we'll sort that out in a minute. Now I've caught it in with 2 turns. I'm going to wet my thumb and forefinger in my left hand, and then all them fibres should hopefully just pushed forward there, be caught. Then I can build a small head. I'm going to stop there. I can grab my hackle now and pull it away. I can see one little outlier there, but I think I might have got it actually. It's difficult to see because the light's in my face, and I'm only getting a profile here. So now, to finish up the fly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of resin to my thread. Then just got some on the fibres there. I can grab my whip finish tool, now before I come through this, I'm going to just clear the eye. You might have seen me using this little tip before. Basically you get a feather, strip it to the core, take away some of the fibres, and what you can do Just pop that in. And ready with your UV torch. As you pull it out, you can just come in and cure that. This ensures the eye is completely clear, and when you're bouncing up and down on Loch, you know that you'll still be able to tie your fly on because you've not filled it full of gink, varnish even. I suppose you could gink this fly up. Again, I can see a couple of outliers there, and there's a couple of ways of doing this. If you're very brave, you can get a lighter and just flash it past the point of the eye. If you're not so brave, just come in with a pair of scissors and trim what you don't want. And there we go. My, by necessity, slight variation of Hutch's Pennell. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, I've still got to tie another 4 or 5 of these for the box, which is nowhere near ready. I might have to end up buying flies, which I hate to do, but I don't want to be underprepared. So if you've got any suggestions for flies I should be getting on with for Loch, please pop them in the comments section below, and I'll see you all in the next one.